Streets, Jimmy Busser. Building and Grounds, Jim.
I have building permit, 3 solar panels, a deck, cement pad,
Police, Keith.
Flynn is doing well on his training. Everyone's doing good. This Christmas is this Thursday from 6 to 8 in Tiebreaker. Everyone is welcome.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Keith. Administration, Finance, Beth.
Nothing.
Water and Randy.
No.
Chief Rockwood. Sydney.
No report.
Moving on to old business. Consideration of possible action on ordinance 21-09, sale of 410 South Division Avenue to Donna Humphreys. This is the second reading. If there are no questions or more discussion on it, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 21-09.
I have a question. I just wanted to ask if this date is correct on in that document. There's a date that says the transaction will be closed, and the date is, I'm sorry, number 7, transactions will be closed, and it's got a date in 1996.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
That would be an error. The contract, it'll be closed in probably within the next week or so.
Okay.
We'll move.
Motion made by Randy and seconded by Keith. Roll, please, Sydney.
Sorry. Alderman Groh?
Yes.
Alderman Busser?
Yes.
Alderman Chestnut?
Yes.
Alderman Sanders?
Yes.
Alderwoman Sundman?
Yes.
Alderman Schoen?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carried.
B, consideration of possible action on how to finance a new police vehicle.
Sydney, what's your opinion of best option?
We can, next year, if you want to pay for it outright, we can take the money for the levy next year. We can always put it into a CD and save it and have it specifically for police vehicles. Or, not next year, but, continue to put new CDs for police vehicles until you want to purchase the next one after this year. Or, like I reached out to Lanark Bank, they can give us 3% for 2 years. So that way you can utilize the levy payment this year and utilize the levy payment next year. But so there are those two options. We could use our levy money this year and pay for the rest outright, and save the money for the additional years, or get a loan. But I don't know what the best opinion is.
I think either way would be fine. Just if you want to pay it all now or spread it out.
Are we paying any penalty for paying it up front?
No.
The only, with the lease, I think you can levy for that separately. On
Well,
lease
he
payments.
said that they no longer have a lease program.
They're not doing that anymore?
Mhm.
Okay.
So
So it would just be a straight loan, 3%.
Well, I believe Jimmy had brought it up that if you have the money,
Why would you pay 3% interest if you got the money?
Probably the best you're going to get on keeping it in a CD is less than 1%.
What do you guys do?
Do we have, we have the money to pay for it outright?
yeah,
And we're okay putting the levy money into if we choose to save it, build it up, we're okay taking the levy money out,
as long as
immediately using it.
it's specified as a vehicle, like a police car vehicle.
any other comments on that? Cynthia? Just right now, this is for, we got a revolving vehicle program.
But if we go to purchase a vehicle, just one.
Right,
the people we've dealt with before.
yes, yes.
And we'd be paying tax up front, right? They would do that. Paying tax for it.
What is it? Enterprise,
You know,
Vito,
you know that, right?
So then you have rate negotiating power. You're gonna tell them that you want the vehicle, you're gonna pay outright.
It's kind of a standard set, correct?
you want to ask him.
The police department, this price on this is kind of a statewide set. This isn't a negotiable price. It's already a negotiable price.
Yeah, yeah.
And the whole state has got this
Okay, when
worked
they
out.
do that.
It's a state rate.
No hassle, okay.
And realistically, it sounds like it's always a really good deal for the police department. It seems like we're getting it much cheaper than we could have individually.
And this is the vehicle you want? This is the one you prefer?
We've been through them all. First it was the Impalas, it was the Chargers, then it was the Bucks.
To kind of repeat Randy, the trucks have worked very well. But having fleet of all vehicles, very identifiable. And that's what we do is by not being cheap.
Yeah.
That's kind of like
I think those ghost lettering is a asset for that part of it. And the lights, the way the lights are on them anymore, they don't stand out like they used to either. Positive of it is four-wheel drive, right? Yeah, I think
And I
that's,
think that's the problem that we ran into a lot with the Charger. All-wheel type vehicles, but it's such a short wheelbase.
I mean, if we go that route, like you two have said, it was the same company that you last week. You said same company as far as pickup truck or SUV. I mean, I don't see why it would be worth a try to see how it plays out.
Anything's gotta be better than Christine, so.
Yeah, so obviously that Charger wasn't the answer. If we had the problem with that Charger, how come does the
County has the same problem.
Do they?
Well, yeah,
are they considering something else?
they're working for the top.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh. Is the gas mileage similar between the Tahoe and the Durango, or probably better with the Durango?
You have something that's resaleable too.
Yeah, SUVs probably would be better than a Charger or something.
And being full.
I remember the day in this town when we had two police officers and one squad car. And it was a town 2,600 then, town of 2,200 now. Just a little thought for everybody.
We didn't have 24-hour coverage.
So I seemed to be around where I was at.
That should tell you something.
So you're saying you're the reason we had to.
Yeah, you're the reason.
Suggest we pay for it outright.
Because if we, financing it is just like we're paying an extra $3 a month payment.
That's not bad. And so what? So what happens with the levied money then? How's that work?
Next year, I'll put it into a CD that's designated specifically
Do
for
we
vehicles.
use it all this year then?
We'll use it
Yeah.
this year, but next year we will not. And
Well,
if it's
since-
a 2-year rotation, so next year it'll be a CD, and then the following year,
Will
We
the
should
time
be-
to rotate,
yeah,
and
that,
then it'll be applicable for that.
yeah. We're hopefully we'll have then 2 levy payments to go towards it, and we'll hopefully get the SDA squad car grant. So hopefully the majority of it will be covered
It'll be covered on the
for the
one.
next one.
Okay, so the motion was made by Randy, seconded by
No.
Keith.
Made by Keith, seconded by
Made
John.
by Keith, I'm sorry, seconded by Jim. I was close. Would you take roll, please, Cindy?
Alderman Busser,
Yes.
Alderman Chestnut,
Yes.
Alderman Sanders,
Yes.
Alderwoman Sunman,
Yes.
Alderman Stone,
Yeah.
Alderman Grove.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carried.
Okay, moving on to new business. Consideration and possible action on ordinance 21-11, an ordinance amending the Polo Code of Ordinances 112-16, limitation on number of Class A and liquor licenses, and this is the first reading. What was the question you emailed to Sydney during the week when you think?
Just asked how many would be the total number of then if we reduce these by one. So I included that in there. So there'll be 4 Class A's and 0 Class B's.
And that's what we have.
We had 5 and 1. Now it's going to be 4 and 0.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. As long as it's not accessible now, if somebody who comes and, I mean, it's a good policy to have to give them a liquor license. It's
If they're qualified.
if they're qualified. It's, to me, it's worth it to pay for the ordinance and just have the ability to be able to do that. Okay. Any questions or Cynthia?
What is the difference? I'm sorry, I don't sell alcohol, so what is the difference between Class A and Class
Oh, Jesus.
Well, Class A is what, like the Pine Cricker, Jeff's Rest, Chesky Peas, and the Polo Room have.
B? For like a pub or
Yeah.
So they can sell
Premises drinking, they can sell 12 packs
Weekday
and
and
bottles.
weekend. And then Class B, I think, was just only for,
Beer and wine, was it?
I think so, only no, it was going to be when, what was that store that, yeah, the barbecue place on the corner. That's who originally had asked for Class B. So I think it was just to have beer and wine on the premises.
And then the, like
Yeah.
the Shell,
They're over the counter.
and then the Shell station and the grocery store are,
Oh. They have 8. I know they have
If you go to the
A, B.
total ordinances and go to chapter 112, and it's actually say Class A can do this, Class B can do this, Class C can do that, and what their annual
these are.
fees are. You know,
And then there was one other one that we issued for Pine Cricker, which is a catering liquor license, so that they can actually go to and sell liquor at a caterer. So anyway, any other discussion on that? Okay, moving on to B, consideration possible action on ordinance 2112, ordinance amending the Polo Code of Ordinances 152.085B, pet shops and permitted use in B1, and this is the first reading. Did I miss one?
I think so. Unless maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Nope, you're right. I'm wrong about that. So I have 2113. Sorry, is that one where in the agenda it has 2112. So 2112 is actually C, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the first reading as well. Any
Okay.
discussion on this ordinance?
Yeah, what's this?
Why?
Well, there was a,
From history or just somebody new on from
somebody,
There was somebody new coming to town, and I told them that it was eventually going to get passed, and I haven't heard anything from them since. So I don't know if they're still planning on it or not.
Okay, what's the definition of a pet store? Is this somebody selling puppies or is this somebody selling dog food and leashes? Do we know
any of that.
any of it? Oh,
Yeah, it's retail. Yes.
Oh,
and then there's several provisions in it as far as cleanliness and and noise nuisances and that you gotta comply with certain,
Well, we were gonna have to amend the
Amend
pet
the-
ordinance,
yeah, the
or the
animal
animal ordinance in order to state that pet shops are not limited to 4 animals.
right,
And also, yeah, the
Right.
cleanliness, need to follow Ogle County health
health
code.
code. Any other questions or discussion on this ordinance? Okay, moving on to C, consideration possible action on ordinance 2113, an ordinance amending the code of ordinances 152.139A, number of members for zoning board of appeals. This is the first reading as well. Is this a state thing?
Yes.
Do we have to?
If you have a zoning board of appeals that says that municipalities with a population of less than 5,000 have one, provided you have 7 members. And we have 7 members now, but our current ordinance says 5 members.
It's hard enough to find people the way it is. I mean, if
Yeah.
you give them a year and then at the end of the year, then it's my job again then to find somebody else again and do that continuously.
Well, the way it's set out is there'd be really one person for 1 year, one for 2 years, one for 3 years, one for 4 years. And I think then that there are 5 for group 5 years. Because 5 years is the maximum.
So every year or two, I've got to.
Well, or
See,
they can be reappointed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't have to have new ones all
Is
the
there
time if they're willing to.
as far as if they're willing to serve and you reappoint them, is there a condition on the length?
They fill the unexpired term, so that's going to be kind of a headache for Sydney, I think. And I put in that ordinance how the initial ones would be, all 7 names that go in a
Mm-hmm. I saw
container,
that.
and she'll pull out, the first one pulled out be for 1 year, the second one pulled out be for 2, etc. So whoever's going to be the 1 year, next year they'll be reappointed, or you find somebody new if they don't want to be reappointed.
Oh, okay. Well, that
And then that one will be for 5 years.
that's
after
not
that.
a big deal because that has nothing different than your pool manager or your
Right.
or any of the others.
Yeah.
Besides that, it only applies to me for probably 1 or 2 times anyway.
But yeah, after the first go around, then they're all 5 year terms.
Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay, D, consideration possible action on ordinance 2114, ordinance amending the Polo Code of Ordinances 152.138E and 152.140B, zoning board of appeals to make recommendations to city council to have final decision-making authority. This is the first reading too. That was the time thing that we had a problem with.
Correct.
And,
And there were the 2 conflicting ones. One said the zoning board of appeals had the final decision. The other one said the council had the final decision, and then it had the timelines for making the decision. So we were going to eliminate the one for the zoning board making the final decision. They'll make the recommendations to the city council, and then the timelines that are outlined in there for them to.
and if there's a problem, then the city council can refer it back to the zoning
Correct.
board of appeals.
Yeah, that starts those timelines again.
And starts the time. Yeah.
If they don't make the final decision by the 3rd regular meeting that's in order, if they refer it back, then the petition is deemed to have been granted.
Yeah, like
I think that's what the
like it
recommendation
happened
is.
on DJ?
Mind if I backtrack for a second?
Sure.
So we do this correctly. The whole zoning board thing, they should all be staggered. And I'm looking at the law here, and it says initially it goes up to 1 for 7 years.
Yes, it does.
Because otherwise, you're going to have 3 1 year. So,
But eventually you'll have 3 in 1 year anyway. After they go through the first line, then everybody's 5 years. In the 5 years, you have 7 people, and you're going to have 5 years. And the reason I did that is because some of them have already been on the board. If you want me to amend it back to 1 through 7, we can do that, and then they would, after each one expires, it becomes a 5 year. So we can do that.
If we're trying to get in line with the law,
Right.
we should.
Yeah. That's fine. I don't object to that. I'm just thinking they've already been on there, some of them, for a long time. And eventually it will be so that 3 of them will be there for 5-year
Yeah.
terms. Because that's the maximum after the first go.
Right, after the first
through, they go through the.
And this
Order.
applies to the chair too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the 7.
Yes.
Why do they?
Yeah.
Why do they do that?
Yeah. Tell you what, I can do it that way, and then at the next meeting, you can vote which one you want to adopt.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm just saying.
I don't either.
If the whole purpose of this is trying to fall in with what the law says, then
They think that language is if you're establishing a brand new zoning board.
Any questions in public or discussion on this? This was the first reading, right? E, consideration possible action on a bonus for Police Chief Tim Rockwood. Who wants to take that? Keith, you got
Not so much a bonus as
compensation.
catching up because he's accumulated so much time. Not going to be feasible to try and take that. He's not continuing to do it too much time. We're trying to get him to sleep, for what's built up right now. Paying for him, so
Correct. It would not be a bonus. It would be compensation for
Time.
approved time.
And the only reason that it became this is because of the situation that we've been in with the understaffing, and I have my concerns sometimes. You have to spend that much time, Tim. It concerns me that you're not able to enjoy at least some free time. It really it bothers me at times, that when we're in the situation and you have to have the coverage and you got a guy that's retiring after, what can you do? There's really, I commend you on the way that you handle things and the way you're doing it, but the thing is, I have my concerns on your.
there's been a lot of training and things also that's been able to take off, so that's caught up to be able to really schedule people and all through.
Looking at possibly in July, having quarterback.
Is there any possibility of finding somebody that has been through the? It doesn't look good, does it?
Everybody's looking, Doug.
Yeah.
And,
And some are paying more than others.
we
Yeah.
have to create our own draw as far as getting those experts, right? That's difficult to being a rural town. If they had bonuses, you don't have the issues of big towns, but also you don't have to pay those big towns.
Right. Yeah, understand. So how do we want to move forward? We've already discussed it and everything, right?
Compensate for a certain number of hours. Or,
I'll do that.
or 300 hours.
431.
Or 300. Do all of them.
That wipes it clean.
Second.
But then he wouldn't have any free time off other than what he accrues
Starting,
forward.
yeah.
If he wanted to take time off in July, he wouldn't have much time.
And we discussed this on 86 hours.
For this,
Yes.
We discussed about the 86 hours too then.
Oh. Well, that doesn't deal with this though.
No.
That's for overtime.
Okay. So the motion is made to compensate Chief Rockwood for time accrued at
431 hours.
431 hours, and it's seconded by Keith. Would you take a roll, please, Cynthia?
Alderman Chestnut?
Yes.
Alderman Sanders?
Yeah.
Alderwoman Sunman? Alderman Stone?
Yeah.
Alderman Grove?
Yes.
Alderman Buster?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carried. Oh,
Arch, buddy. You know, it's a tough way to for a new guy to hit the world, ain't it? Yeah, I know that. Just, I think we're lucky to get somebody that is so inclined. Thank you. Consideration and possible action on the Polo City Council opinion on Ogle County planning and zoning request. Barry Adams for an amendment to the text, Ogle County amendatory zoning ordinance.
well, the meeting has been postponed, but I didn't know if the council still wanted, if they had any opinion on it. So that's why I left it on the agenda. I don't know when it's going to pop back up.
And I talked to Andy Ocken this morning,
Mm-hmm.
who's the head of the zoning board of appeals for Ogle County. And he's not sure when it's going to be rescheduled either. I reviewed that ordinance. I didn't see anything out of line there, except on that Schedule B, Exhibit B. I should get to it. There's just kind of a small thing, but it has been corrected now. You happen to have that right there. It'd be easier than me scrolling through.
What is it?
Mm-hmm.
Pardon?
I think they were trying to try to control the solar farms.
Yeah, they're wanting to, at least it sounds like the planning commission and maybe the county board want to set up a new classification that's Ag 2. Because right now there are a lot of things that are in Ag 1 classification. And so they're including solar rather than having that available in Ag 1. They want to move that to an Ag 2. But the zoning board of appeals may not agree with, here's what I was looking for. Exhibit B. What I saw here was an aircraft repair and service minor. And it entails the general repair, rebuilding, or reconditioning of aircraft exceeding 25,000 pounds maximum takeoff weight. The next one is aircraft repair and service major, and that's for the same service, but aircraft not exceeding 25,000 pounds maximum takeoff weight. So I talked to Randy Otten. I said, I'm not an airplane expert, but to me, I would think that would be reversed. That major would be in excess of 25,000 pounds, and minor would be less or not exceeding 25,000 pounds. He said, you're right. And they said it must be a typo. So he said that's going to be changed.
So we can wait.
Yeah.
I just kept it on the agenda even though it was postponed in case it was going to come around
So
faster.
if we're coming back around, we'll just address it later, right?
Yeah.
I had a question actually with the new church facility that, I forget their name.
Gutman?
Yeah, would that be effective? Because I noticed they're crossed out and changed.
This is Ogle County.
Ogle County, not
Our-
the city of Polo.
yeah.
Oh,
So it'd be
we wouldn't
rural
want to
area.
tell them yes and then have Ogle County.
That exhibit B are probably going to pertain to TJ, ain't it?
well, does he have? It's over Mount Morris. It could over in Mount Morris.
That's where he's at,
Yeah.
is over there.
Sure. And if they ever reactivated the Radio Ranch, that would fall within. And for those of you who may not be aware, whenever the county's going to do something, and it might affect anything within a mile and a half of a municipality, they have to let the municipality know and express their opinion on whether or not they object to suggested change to the ordinance.
Case in point, the farm,
Barbara.
Yes, right, Dr. Ruff.
or the pig farm.
Oh,
Oh.
That came in, that we were, when he was expanding
Yeah, Duncan,
Duncan, is that
Duncan,
when he
yeah.
was expanding his
Yeah.
facility, they can tell us. Okay. Thank you, Tom. G, consideration proclamation for Motorcycle Awareness Month. Do I have that?
Oh, I have it right here.
Okay. I was approached by a guy from Mount Morris that's in charge of the of this of Motorcycle Awareness Month. He'd read this proclamation. Whereas safety is the highest priority for highways and streets of our city and state, and whereas the great state of Illinois is proud to be a national leader in motorcycle safety, education, and awareness, and whereas motorcycles are common and economic means for transportation that reduces fuel consumption and road wear and contributes to significant way the relief of traffic and parking congestion, and whereas it is especially meaningful that the citizens of our city and state be aware of motorcycle on roadways and recognizes the importance of motorcycle safety. And whereas the member of the ABATE of Illinois Incorporated, a brotherhood aimed toward education, continually promote motorcycle safety, education, and awareness in high school drivers education programs and general public in our city and state, presenting motorcycle awareness programs over 120,000 participants in Illinois over the past 6 years. And whereas motorcycles should be ABATE of Illinois Incorporated and actively promoting the safe operation of motorcycles, as well as promoting motorcycle safety education awareness and respect of citizens in our city and state. And whereas the motorcyclists of Illinois have contributed extensive volunteerism and money to its national community and charitable organizations. And whereas during the month of May, all roadway users should unite in the safety sharing of roadways within the city of Polo and throughout this great state of Illinois. Therefore, I, Douglas E. Knapp, Mayor of the city of Polo, the great state of Illinois, in recognition of 34 years of ABAT of Illinois Incorporated and over 352,218 registered motorcyclists statewide, in recognition of the continued role of Illinois serves as a leader in motorcycle safety education and awareness, do hereby proclaim the month of May this year's 2021 as Motorcycle Awareness Month in the city of Polo, and all motorists to join in the effort to improve safety and awareness of our roadways, and witness thereof. I have hereunto set my hand to cause the great seal of the city of Polo and affix this 13th day of May, the year 2021.
And this be made perpetual. Motorcycles ain't going away. This should be a yearly thing, starting on the first.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Okay, H, consideration of possible action on road closures on 21st at 6 p.m. for 5K run sponsored by the Polo FFA. You have the map in front of you and it's not going to actually be road closures. What the city is not able to put officers at the highway. So what Tim has suggested and Kendall have requested that the 5K run organization supply their own flaggers, responsible flaggers at the 2 points on Route 26 where they cross on the old the gas station there on Oregon, or East and West Oregon, and where's
it's Fulton Street.
At Fulton Street on north of town. So I guess it's just a consensus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is everybody okay with that? Okay, aye. Consideration possible action on road closures on May 28th from 7 to 7:45, May 30th from 2 to 2:45 p.m. for school graduations.
These are actual closures. I guess they had awards night last week. They had a very noisy vehicle that drove by, and they didn't want that to happen during 8th grade promotion and a high school graduation. So if you see the map, I put the X's where they want barricades so that, and then there is going to be a squad car, correct, on Dixon? by the somewhere. Because we didn't they originally wanted East Dixon blocked off right by the football field, but since that's a main road, one of the main roads going in and out of town, we didn't want to block that off because there's really no good way to go around. If they went down Union and Fairmont and back down, that's quite a big detour, so Tim's just going to have a squad sitting somewhere to kind of make sure people behave.
Is this a consensus? Well, everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, moving on. Consideration and possible action on replacing a manhole and some pipes at the lift station on South Congress Avenue. Randy brought it to my attention earlier this week, him and Kendall, that we have a problem with grading as the alleyway up behind the Johnsons there. I guess originally, you want to go ahead and explain it, Randy?
Yeah. Originally, when we did our televising and lining, we knew that problem existed there. But they could get through it to televise it, but could not get through it to line it. So we just let it go with the thought that we were going to have to fix it someday. Well, then all of a sudden, they came to me and there's a big sinkhole down there that there's barricades around. And right where your little fence and flowers are right there, there's a 10-inch pipe. Well, part of that 10-inch pipe is here, part of it's down here. And it's sucking the gravel in.
This is like at the 20-foot below level.
15 feet from the top of that manhole to the bottom where the problem is.
I understand there's a conglomeration of pipes.
There's 3 or 4 manholes that have to be considered. There's several things. There's a gas pipe. Again, a gas pipe right through the center of one of our manholes. I don't know how them guys do that. So that's not good. It's comic, but it ain't. That's how you blow houses
The
up.
second time that's happened.
Yeah. But anyway, we had civil down there this morning. This is something that we need to address right now. And this Nate Symington gave me this estimate of $48,000. I truly believe it'll come in a little less than that. Our guys are going to help the trucks and the gravel and stuff like that. So they're just essentially waiting to hear from us, waiting to see how fast we can get a manhole we want there. The manhole that is there has pipes that come in up here and then one at the very bottom. When Mike was down in the bottom the other day, all of a sudden one of these decided to flush. So he wants to get ones that have drop boxes on the outside that drop and then feed into the bottom so that you can go in there and work if you have to.
We won't know the full extent of this till it's sort of.
Right. We know it's bad at both ends. We also know.
Drop hundreds of gallons of water in that little one. There's a gravel hole about this big and about 8 deep. It disappeared.
Yeah.
So there's an issue underground.
Yeah, it's that offset. I mean, there's 2 of them. There's one at the curb at 26, and then there's one just before the manhole. We want to get the one at the manhole and all that fixed first and attack the one that comes through you guys. I don't know if it's you guys or if it's Parco Hall.
Parco, mine land is real limited on that side. Whatever I can do to these things.
I have a question. It says he figured we can have a guy watch pumps overnight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
we
that
did
the
that.
guys are gonna
Yep,
do
we
that?
did that down here. If I remember right.
Okay.
Yep. So they don't have to have an operator here to
Mm-hmm.
man that pump for 12 straight hours.
Yep.
That's the manhole that, water going through all of them.
No, that is the lift station that you hear.
All that.
But that's just to the west of the manhole that's got the problem, within 10 feet of it. And another 10 feet right over here is another manhole. And part of the expense here is they have to bypass pump. So they have to go out to the man on 26 and we're back to the lift station. They have to go to the manhole at the end of the alley and come back to the lift station. They have to go to the manhole on Congress and come back to the lift station. So they stop all of that sewage flowing to that area. That would be my guess, more than half of that price.
We would have to, done or have no access in that alley during the time.
What's that?
We would not be able to let people use that alley during that time.
Well, you can't use it now,
Yeah.
really, because it's barricaded. I mean, you can cut down it, but
They
you're gonna have
opened it, they opened it up.
They
Oh.
still,
I was just going out there the other day.
they've got it all marked with the storm,
Mhm.
with sewer, and we saw that it's really close to that area, but whatever you have to dig up, you have to go.
Yeah, we're gonna have
How
to
long
do
would
it.
that take to fix?
Probably 5 days, he said.
That's what I think I saw that.
We're considering an emergency. So we can,
It's not really something I think we need to stand around and wait
no.
and go through the bid process or none of that other stuff. You know, even standing there, you wonder, is the ground going to cave from underneath of you? You know, I mean, it's a 10-inch pipe. It's pouring up here, and what gets in this hole gets in, and the rest just washes away. And that's what's washing the gravel away.
It's all like my house,
Yeah, same thing.
about that deep.
Yeah, it's 15 foot. With a tape measure, it was 15 foot 4 inches or 8 inches to the bottom of that thing this morning.
So I guess you just need a form of motion to allow the process to be undertaken by level or
Don't need to have a motion, wait, get process due to it.
yeah, I'll entertain a motion to
Waive the bid
waive the bidding
process.
process for the repair at South Division lift station.
So moved.
Made by Randy and seconded by Keith. Is this a roll?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Alderman Sanders.
Yes.
Alderwoman Sundman.
Yes.
Alderman Schoen.
Yes.
Alderman Grobe.
Yep.
Alderman Busser. Alderman Chestnut.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carried.
Now we need a motion to approve the Helm Civil.
Right. On that, I know he's got an estimate, but he thinks it'll come in less than that, but
Yeah, I do, because he did not get any figures back. He's just going off of his experience. This same guy's been down here before. I mean, we can do that, but I can't see that happening. So, I mean, it might be a safe thing to do that way, to make the motion so it does not to exceed 48,000. I'd hate to see it do $48,100, you know.
Well, you can approve $100.
yeah,
What if we did it not to exceed 50?
Yeah. Hey, go ahead, Randy.
So moved.
Second.
Made by Randy, seconded by Jim. What'd you think, roll, Cindy?
Alderwoman Sundman. Alderman Schoen.
Yes.
Alderman Grobe.
yes.
Alderman Busser.
Yes.
Alderman Chestnut. Alderman Sanders.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carried.
Okay, any other items to discuss this evening city council meeting?
Hey, going on with dude on South Division? Wasn't there a court date?
Yes, we had a court date, this last Wednesday. Chief and, our newest, graduate from, DPI were there as well, as was Mr. Jay. And he wanted time to hire an attorney, so the judge granted him an extension for around 30 days to hire an attorney. He hasn't had one ever.
I can't tell you the people that have made the comments to me about how bad that looks for this town.
It
And the
does.
things that we're trying to do through the PDC. This has to stop. I don't know what we got to do as a group. Man, come on, guys.
And that's not the only place either. It's just the
It's
most
ridiculous.
obvious because it's on 26. There's others.
Right.
There's a place right down here. Just,
He asked for 60 days, and the judge said, no, I won't give you that much. The other little disadvantage we had is the usual judge to handle these, Judge Reddington,
Mhm.
and he was handling the school shooter case down in Dixon, so he wasn't there. So Judge Lindsay was just filling in. So Judge Lindsay wasn't aware of the prior instance we've had. You know, but that's what it is.
I've been aware of it since I've been sitting up here.
Well,
It's time it stopped.
Yeah, that judge who was there lives in Byron, so he wouldn't be familiar with this case.
Reddington actually,
Threatening.
threatened him last time.
No, any violence right
No.
now. They come down hard.
Anything else this evening before we close?
I have a question for the chief, but it can wait till after. I just wanted to say that so we don't screw up.
And something, if I may. The Zoning Board of Appeals for Ogle County, Wednesday, their next regular meeting, and they have several applications for variances on their agenda. Mark on earlier on that amendment to their zoning, that Harry Adams was the one who sent that or developed it. He has now resigned, so he's no longer the administrator for the planning and zoning, and it's Mark Miller. So I talked to Mark Miller. Well, as soon as they have their specific agenda, he's going to send me how to access by telephone the hearing. So I'll get that to Sydney, and you can get it out to council members as well as many zoning board members as you can. Because it is quite interesting to listen to that.
Thank you, Tom. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Randy and seconded by Jimmy. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. If you could sign the minutes, please.
Yes. Well, the next step is I have two deeds ready, one to you and one to Harlan. But there's that assignment form there. I did an assignment, and you're assigning the north half to Harlan, and then you have to be signed by Harlan and the mayor.
Sydney, does this stay with you?
Yeah.
And then we'll set up a time for the mayor.
For the payment?
Yeah. And we'll get you the deeds, and you and Harlan, you need the money.
Okay, and you'll let us know when.
Yeah.
Have a meeting at your place, or?
Yes, we'll probably do it there.
Sure.
Yep.
I don't know, this is new to me.
Yep.
So do you want assignment then?
Yeah,
Harlan's
because
the only
Harlan will
one?
need to sign it. I can get a hold of him.
Oh, I only need to sign one?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we'll make copies.
There's the assignment,
Okay.
and
And
then,
there's the contract. And they changed that date. If it was 2016 for closing.
yeah, it's number 7, it's actually 1996.
Oh, 1996. Okay. Maybe change that
So,
to.
you want the mayor to sign?
Yes, the contract as for the seller.
Okay.
Yep.
Doug, actually need, sorry, one more signature from you.
Here?
Mm-hmm. You just need his signature.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
But on the deed, we'll have his signature and you attest the deed.
So there's the contract then.
Okay?
Do you need the ordinance, or is it alright if I keep that?
You keep the order.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
All good? You'll let me know?